Lost sound.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting humankind with universal love, or as I like to say, uniting Dr. Carolyn Dean with a pretty unhealthy world right now. Well, some people are healthy, but some people are struggling, and Dr. Dean is here to talk to everyone because the people who are struggling need a boost, and the people who are doing well, there's always more. There's always more health, vitality, and well-being, as is evidenced by our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is the picture of everything that we talk about on this show. I'm Ginny Sanders. I'll be your co-host for 2 hours with Dr. Dean, and we are going to talk about health, vitality, well-being. Tonight, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about generational health, what it means to you, what it means to your mother, what it means to your daughter or your children, your siblings, your aunt. We have a lot of women on our mind this week getting ready for Mother's Day, and we know that women have particular health challenges, and fortunately, a lot of them can be resolved with proper essential nutrition and nutrients like magnesium, minerals, and some other good things that Dr. Dean is going to talk to us about tonight to get us inspired, to get us to get committed to actually sometimes we have to intervene with our loved ones and let them know, hey, I care about you so much. I'm willing to say this to you so that you can be better. And Dr. Dean knows how to do that more than anybody. And as a matter of fact, I'm starting to say she's one, not only is she a best-selling author, but she is an award-winning physician and a naturopath, having been recognized by her peers around the world for her contribution to the standard of natural health in public health and in medicine. And so we are not only happy to have her with us this evening to be able to answer your questions, but also to be able to pick your brain as well. We love your feedback. We love to know what you're thinking about. We love to know what you're concerned about. And we are going to talk about that on the show tonight too as well. So without further ado, I will bring her on. Again, not a medical advice show. We're not allowed to give medical advice per the FDA, but we are allowed to say what we would do if we were in your shoes. And I, along with Dr. Dean, and well, amazingly enough, our producer, Rachel, is actually a very good consumer of our products, and she's got an incredible testimonial that we're going to have her share with us in a little bit. So without further ado, we will bring on our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean, the most delicious, the most delightful, the most wonderful, the snappiest dresser on the planet, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Oh, wait.
Are the children? Yes, the children.
There you are.
Okay. I don't hear them, but I can imagine them in my head.
Oh, you do.
Our happy little snappy children. I'm a snappy dresser. That's so funny. You don't dress in Hawaii. You undress pretty much. But actually, Ginny just sent me a dozen bamboo T-shirts with my magnesium logo on them because the other ones I got, maybe 7-8 years ago, I finally wore them down to rags. So that's something that maybe we'll send out a inquiry email to ask if people want us to carry magnesium T-shirts, because we can't decide. I mean, we're so busy helping people with their cellular health. We didn't know about their fashion sense. So you can let us know if you'd like to have a magnesium t-shirt. Okay,
Ab-
Ginny?
Absolutely. They let us
Right.
know and we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out as we do everything else. So we're into May, which, Bob likes to remind me, oh, we're almost through half the year already. My gosh, it goes so fast. So we're into May. As Ginny said, we're moving up to Mother's Day. So we're going to focus on the moms and the women. You don't have to be a mom. I mean, I'm not a biological mom, but I consider myself a mom because I have foster kids. So whatever you do as a female, I think you have mom tendencies. I see with all the YouTube videos, Ginny, that I watch kind of compulsively with the dogs and cats. These people consider themselves moms and dads of animals. And I'm sure you do too, right, Ginny?
100%. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I know. So there you go. And the email Jenny put out this morning was about uh, mothers and also the elderly. So she starts with elderly people in the United States represent an emerging high risk group for nutritional deficiencies, but their constitution often seems stronger than their offspring and seems to respond very quickly when changes to the regimens are made. Now, I made this observation, decades ago in my practice in Toronto in the 90s, where I would find that the children were healthier than their grandparents. No, the other way around. The grandparents were healthier than the children. So the children were starting to come to me with allergies and constant colds and flus and just kind of weak and sickly. Their illnesses would last longer. And their grandparents were just, tooting along. So this is true that I guess if you reach a certain age, it just shows that you've survived. You're strong enough to have survived. Of course, there is a very high percentage of the population with what they're calling the comorbidities now. We thought that with people with all these diseases in allopathic medicine, we thought, well, just give them drugs, give them drugs to treat their symptoms. And oh, okay, well, let's give them drugs to prevent them getting symptoms and prevent them getting disease like they do with diabetes. They're giving preventative drugs, et cetera, et cetera. So what that's turned out to be, though, is more sick people because of the side effects of the drugs. So we have a healthy elderly population, and we have a population who's on medication. And what we're doing with our particular customer population is we're finding that when we give, as Ginny has put down in the email here, when we give the right nutrients that support the cells, then people perk up really quickly. And although Big Pharma doesn't like to hear it, um, our customers find that if their disease conditions were due to nutrient deficiencies and their nutrient deficiencies are treated, they don't need their medications. But at the same time, we always say that stay on your medications and take our nutrients. Don't stop your medication. So, hopefully that will assuage Big Pharma. You can do the two together when you're working with our products. So a person doesn't have to be afraid that, oh, I have to do either one or the other. You can always have the best of both. And again, with medications, you might need less. It may be a small amount that you're taking of a medication is beneficial, and then all your nutrients take care of any side effects and also take care of your nutrient deficiencies. So this blog, which you can find at drcarolyndeanlive.com or in your inbox, send us an email. We continue. Here's a wonderful testimonial from a customer who got her mother to experience the Magnesium Miracle. Uh, and it says, I wanted to send in a good news story. My stepmom, who's 77, started ReMag 4 weeks ago and is just at 1 teaspoon a day. However, even at that low dose, the results have been remarkable! Exclamation mark. Her muscle weakness disappeared in just 5 days, and she says she has muscle tone back. She stopped using her cane. Her muscle weakness disappeared in just 5 days, and she says she has muscle tone back. She has stopped using her cane. I'm repeating myself. I apologize. She's very optimistic now after all the changes she has had in such a short period of time. She's going to add in the ReMyte, and I suggested she try upping her ReMag dosage. I've been doing the Total Body Reset program since March. I have had many improvements, although for me it seems more gradual, and I'm still hopeful. So exactly as Ginny said, the elderly, they're tuned in already and just need to top up the tank with their nutrients. Continuing, a magnesium deficit in the elderly can occur due to inadequate nutrient intakes, multiple drug use, altered gastrointestinal function, and/or frequent urination. The human body's ability to absorb magnesium declines with age, so elderly people who do not eat an adequate diet and those who use prescription drugs that deplete the body's magnesium are at risk. So, perfect job for ReMag to forestall those losses. And if you think about what I just said, multiple drug use, you may not need multiple drugs if you get your nutrients back in shape. Continuing, if you wanted to make sure your mom doesn't succumb to the risk factors of magnesium deficiency, give her the most highly absorbed, non-laxative form of magnesium in ReMag. Once she experiences the benefit of highly absorbed minerals, she'll be happy to add other necessary formulas to her daily routine, like Susanna's mother did, as she recounts in her last and latest update. Now, let me just sidebar here. I think, I was being interviewed the other day by Lewis. Is it Lewis Rockwood, Ginny, the yoga master? Lucas Rockwood. So Lucas was saying how difficult it had been for him to remember to take his supplements. And he found that with people, when he tell them to take supplements, their compliance was so bad. And it made me think for a second. And I realized that we really don't have a compliance problem, except for the people who hate the taste of ReMag. And we've solved that with the vitamin C reset berry powder. But what I find, and what I told Lucas, and I think Ginny would agree, once our people start taking the ReMag and feel better, they want more. It's like, oh my gosh, on a teaspoon, I can feel this good. Well, let me take more. Let me take other formulas. And, when they have that positive association with our formulas, they just want to keep taking them. Is that correct, Ginny? I know you're probably busy on chat, but
No,
yeah.
I agree completely. And a lot of people on chat are saying the same thing. I mean, it's not 100%. You start feeling good, you didn't know you could, and then you just keep going.
Yeah.
Agree completely.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. It takes the so-called compliance problem completely off the board when you're using our nutrients. So Susanna, who's been around with us for years and years, she wanted her mother to take our products. Her mother's was in her late 80s at that point a few years ago, and her mother wouldn't. And so Susanna finally decided just to sneak the ReMag lotion into a hand lotion bottle of her mother's without telling her the switch. Her mother didn't notice the switch. And it was remarkable, within a short time, her mother, who has rheumatoid arthritis, started being able to move her hands better. I mean, eventually, as her mother began taking the nutrients, her hands normalized. In rheumatoid arthritis, the fingers kind of claw and drift off to the side. So there were a lot of incredible changes in her mom. But here's what happened with her mom's cataract surgery. Susanna says this is her second cataract surgery. This one includes her being mineralized with ReMag, ReMyte, Recalcia, and a daily dose of Pico Silver. With her first cataract surgery, she was getting ReMag through the lotion, which she applied several times a day to her hands and her whole body after her shower. The difference post-surgery compared to her first was dramatic. Both the doctor and the nurse were surprised with how well she could see. The swelling was much less than what was experienced in the first surgery. More eye drops were prescribed to help decrease the swelling after the first surgery, and the drops were given for 6 weeks. However, 1 week after the second surgery, my mom's ophthalmologist instructed us to begin weaning her off the eye drops. She also said that she was doing so well in both eyes that she may not need glasses at all. After the first surgery, the doctor said more than likely she would need bifocals to help her near vision. But now she says potentially no glasses. In a month, my mom is scheduled to have her vision tested to see what, if any, prescription lenses are needed. I can see why people are flocking to take the complete line of completement formulas. The results are remarkable and unmistakable. So that's awesome. Totally awesome. With vision, for Pete's sake, with cataract surgery, for Pete's sakes. Continuing the blog. Don't keep the rest of your family from experiencing the joy of adding Dr. Dean's protocols to your health regimen. Turns out that over 80% of Americans are highly deficient in many essential nutrients, including magnesium, vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, and the essential stress-reducing vitamin B complex found in ReAlign. Here's what could be in store for you and your loved ones. So this is another testimonial. And it begins. My husband and I wrote you an email about a month ago telling you how amazing your products are and how great we're feeling with only 3 weeks into your protocol. We have been on your products for about 3 months now and feel terrific. My husband's sugar levels are great, so are mine. We continue with the ketogenic diet along with these protocol. The terrible pain I had in my back, legs, and feet for years is about gone. My insomnia is gone, and I sleep so well at night. It is truly a miracle. My husband's back pain due to an injury is also gone, and he also sleeps very soundly at night. We are full of energy and feel amazing. Thank you, Dr. Dean, for creating such a miracle in our lives. Now, we didn't find the age of that couple, but I get the impression that they're probably retired. So that is the blog. There was one question, and we'll take it because it's an important question. My 85-year-old mother has been taking 375 milligrams of magnesium citrate a day for several years now. I recently purchased ReMag for both of us. She started with a 1/4 teaspoon a day and is up to 1/2 teaspoon a day. What would be the best way for her to transition from her magnesium citrate capsules to the ReMag without giving herself loose stools? So yes, that what we tell people is when you start with the ReMag and you've been on a previous magnesium, don't stop the previous one. Do your ReMag, and when you start to get a little bit of the laxative effect, stop the previous magnesium. Now, this daughter doesn't want to leave it to that. She did say that it would be a problem if she had loose stools because she's had accidents before. So, what I would say is I would go to the 3/4 teaspoon, Sarah, for your mom, 3/4 teaspoons of ReMag, and just stop the magnesium citrate. Because even at a half a teaspoon, you're getting 150 milligrams. And that's kind of equivalent to the 375 of magnesium citrate. So the day you start the 3/4 ReMag, stop the magnesium citrate. That's what I would say. So, Ginny, that was our only question in the mailbag. So, and I mean, I had a couple of side topics, but I thought I'd go, right to the phones if people are ready. Otherwise, I have a number of testimonials. So, however you want to work it.
Okay, very good. Well, I think one thing we do want to do is talk to our producer, Rachel.
There you go. Okay.
Rachel.
Let's begin the interrogation. Let's begin.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Ginny. Do the interview.
Well, I just want to introduce you guys to Rachel. She is the power behind our program on the soundboard, and she lets everybody in and out, of course, and she's here monitoring everything and doing our YouTubes and all the rest of the business. But I want Rachel to just kind of tell her experience of what it's been like encountering our little, as she calls her, the boss lady, our very own Dr. Dean.
I will start with, I've never been much for supplements. I say I'm 65 now. I've been on some blood pressure medicine for heart palpitations and high blood pressure. And, I've ignored it for a long time. But producing here and listening and stuff and hearing the testimonials, okay. And I guess I should probably try some. And it stuff was at first nasty, the magnesium. I started with magnesium. It's kind of nasty taste. Now, I'll admit it first. I snuck it in coffee, which is probably not the healthiest way, but I put a little bit, and I'm no longer taking blood pressure medicine. The blood pressure medicine was causing me such a low blood pressure that I was fainting. So that was amazing.
Wow.
That was quite amazing. No heart palpitation that I can sense. So it's like, wow, got more stamina. But what really surprised me, now this is the thing I should have known better. I have a little puppy, it's 5 months old, German short hair pointer. And he's got some rough paws and some claws, and he likes to jump on me and climb over me and all the stuff that puppies do. And he keeps tearing up my arms between him and doing some gardening work with some ferns and roses. My poor arms are just beat up. They look terrible. And I've been using your silver, Pico Silver, for a little bit for allergies because I heard a program. You talked about it and get the sprayer. So I went to Amazon, got the sprayer, and I started spraying my nose in the morning. And I haven't had any allergy problems in 6 months now. So I thought, maybe it'll just help because my arms are just killing me. I'll just spray a little bit of my arms. And I took a nap and I woke up and I was doing something. I looked at my arms and they weren't red no more. So what the hell? I was like, what happened? It's like it's like, I couldn't believe it. They're all the red and the lines and stuff were all gone. And that was like amazing. So I sprayed again, and then I happen to mention it. My arms have never looked so good. And it's just a couple of sprays using that aerator thing. I use my nose on my arms in the mornings. I got 2 fresh scratch marks a couple of days ago, and they're practically healed up already.
Right. Now that's something new that we haven't heard, Rachel. That's really amazing. When you said something about your skin was looking good, I was wondering if you were using the ReMag lotion, but
no,
the Pico Silver spray, that's quite amazing. But what we know silver does is it's a wound healer. They still use silver gauze on burn victims. They haven't found anything to any better than the silver. And
I did. I got fire ants doing some yard work, and fire ants got them because I'm in Florida, so we wear flip flops, right? That's all you wear. And they got on my feet, started biting me, and I got out of there quickly. But I had all these bites, and they were sore. So I stuck on there too, and it took away the soreness really quick. And it's like this is like a miracle stuff. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the magnesium. I actually like the flavor now, but I'm still only doing 1 teaspoon when I remember in the morning. If I forget, maybe the next day. But I'm still not really good at being good at taking it. But I certainly like the flavor now, which is kind of weird if you think about it.
Right. Well, I mean, what may happen, Rachel, is, you know, I don't want it to happen, but when the body gets used to that amount and wants more, you might kick in a few heart palpitations, or your blood pressure might go up a bit, and then you'll say, okay, I have to increase. Or,
I
yeah.
need to. I hear the testimonials. I did. I got their vitamin D recently. I did the blood test, and I'm in a mess. The one that scratches on the puppy before I started doing the spray stuff on it, it bled pretty good. So I just put that whole test kit on my arm. That was bleeding.
Oh, that's very funny.
It was everywhere, and so surprised it sent me another test kit.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't take wound blood. We want a finger prick. They knew. That's very funny.
I hate to waste all that blood just gushing on me. No, I'm doing the vitamin D now that I got from you guys, and because I was a little low, I guess, and I'm doing. I've got a lot of the product up there now. I'm a firm believer. I've even told some of my friends, that like, you won't believe this stuff. This is amazing stuff. So, thank you, Doctor. Glad I had this chance to work the gig as a producer and learn about stuff. I find this fascinating. I tell the other boss woman, I don't think you have to pay me. I think I've been blessed enough. I don't actually need a paycheck. Thank you.
Now that is a testimony. That is.
I do this for free.
I do this for free. Yeah, that's awesome. I know when you weren't looking for us. You just are an innocent bystander and got sidewinded by our information, and your brain said, well, why not try it? So that's awesome, because Rachel, we often think, I mean, what would the man on the street do? Because people select themselves to come to us. They're looking for us. They're looking for something. But you're an example of someone just out of the blue. So
I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't know I had a problem. I just thought that part of being older, I'll take the blood pressure medicine and I'll just accept this one at me and stuff, and on and on. Like, So because I'm listening to the show, I'm here. You're not wasting your breath. At least I'm here listening. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You guys are a blessing.
Oh, thank you. Jenny, any more questions for Rachel? I know I said you were going to do the interview, and I do that to you all the time.
He always does that. I've seen. I heard her say Jenny's going to go ahead, Jenny, and I put myself on mute.
That's my cue. Yeah.
No, it's just so sweet because Rachel has been a blessing, and like everything Carolyn said, we just find each other. We're all part of the same tribe. Deborah, our station owner, is included in that. And we're just so grateful to be able to be connected to such wonderful people. And when everybody's hearts are entwined, uniting humankind with universal love, and when your hearts are entwined and you're entangled together in that passion, magical things happen. We have a magical audience, and we get magical effects from our experience here. So thank you so much, Rachel, for being a part of that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Rachel.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yep.
Yeah, very good. And of course, Charisse is saying on the chat line, I miss silver on my face in the rare cases when I get a breakout of acne and it heals very quickly. So yes, Corinne said, I unfortunately ripped my fingernail up almost all the way. I immediately put Pico Silver on it, and it has almost repaired itself back to the nail bed already. And you know what I love about this is that it is so true. And Carolyn has always said, the body has such incredible power, and it has an intelligence of its own. And really, all we're talking about here is giving the body the power to heal with the building blocks that it requires. A little pinch of silver, a little pinch of magnesium, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and the body, bam, bam. So it's just wonderful. Isn't that exciting, Carolyn? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking of a toenail that I have that I stubbed to oblivion, and I did put a little silver on it, but I should get back to that. Yes, anything that you think your body needs help with to heal, pico silver seems to be the thing to use, because it does stimulate stem cell production. It does heal wounds and burns, and the fire ant story, that's incredible. Dog scratches, fire ants, gardening scratches, ripping off your fingernails. Yeah, all that. Yeah, there are things we can do. See, I think, for decades now, people have gotten away from thinking that they can have a hand in their own health. And we've said that many times about people. They'll get a heart palpitation and boom, they're off to the doctor. And certainly heart palpitations are nothing to sneeze at. You do have to get checked out. But we go to the doctor too quickly because we think that the doctors are in charge of our body. And what I've done from day one in my practice was give people options and choices of natural things they can do to take care of their body. And if you have tools at home, then you're going to look to them first before rushing out to the doctor. I mean, it makes economic sense as well to have tools at home, because the medicine has gotten so expensive. Even if you're covered by insurance, the copay is as much as an office visit these days. So it's well worth it to have remedies to take care of your own health. It really is. Homeopathy is one of the therapies that's very useful. In my Future Health Now encyclopedia, I have a lot of homeopathic remedies that people can work with. We don't have the kit anymore, do we, Ginny? It's out of order, or whatever you call it, on back order.
It's on permanent COVID back order.
What does that mean? They're not allowed to sell it?
Yeah, I think they've made some decisions and they're just not producing it right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there is a homeopathic booklet, free ebook on drcarolyndeanlive.com. No? We took it off?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, my goodness. Those silly people not letting us take care of our own health. Is that what they're doing? Oh, okay. Well, then we'll just have to dig in deeper.
We'll have to give them the bootleg version, Carolyn, like our friend JW always says. You stick it in your boot in like moonshine, and then you whip it out at a party. So if somebody needs it, I've got it, but we're not promoting it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sick. Sick?
Yeah, it is
sick. So I have, as I said, I have testimonials. I have some sidebars, but if there are phone calls, we can, go at it, go easy. I didn't even do the housekeeping.
We can do that at the top of the next hour. We've got some chatty things. I want to tell you what people are saying on the chat line, and then we do have callers waiting, so we'll get right to it.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, the idea about getting the t-shirt is a big hit on the chat line. So people do want it. So we're going to have to figure that out. And Alan, though, is so funny. He says, I'd be interested in a ReMag t-shirt, especially if it had a picture of Dr. Dean and Ginny on it.
Oh, God. Okay, Alan, that's not going to happen. Okay.
That's right. Isn't that hilarious? That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Scott is talking about how he's really going to need the lotion. His mom won't even use the liquid minerals, even when he said she would get better. So we know that about moms, and we're getting close. We are getting close to the ReMag lotion coming in. So you guys just hang in there. It's right around the corner. And then the other thing I wanted to say is Maria definitely left a testimonial and said magnesium has decreased my heart rate from the 90s to the 70s. So I think that's very good. And Sarah Courtney, our lovely Sarah Courtney, said Pico Silver has been brilliant for her grandson's teething.
Oh no.
And occasional diaper rash.
Oh, teething. Never thought of that.
That's cool though. Breaking the skin with those little teethers. Yeah, that's very good.
Wow.
Then let's see. The other thing that Scott typed in, oh, wait a minute, that was Sonia. Would magnesium cause calcium levels in blood to increase? Carolyn.
I can, intellectually imagine it happening transiently, as the magnesium is dissolving the calcium out of the soft tissue, putting it in the blood and directing it to the bones, maybe transiently, and that could be just a matter of hours, but it would not cause a permanent increase in calcium in the blood.
Very good. Excellent. Shall we go to the phones?
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
We're going to go to our lovely Lorraine, who's been chatting with me, making sure that her Zoom call would work. And it did work, Lorraine, and you're on the line with Dr. Dean. Go ahead, please.
Hi. Thank you, Ginny. Can you hear me?
We can.
Lovely. Hey, Dr. Dean, thank you so much. First and foremost, blessings and great thanks for your perseverance and sticking with the truth all these decades.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine.
I'm a new client. I was sent to you by a pal about 3.5 weeks ago because I've been having really rotten AFib and arrhythmias. Now, I'm an artist. I'm uninsured. I've always had to navigate my way with the allopaths paying out of my pocket. And so I don't go very often and I don't find them that helpful. I have had it all checked out. They just shrug and say, oh, well, you've had Lyme. We can't figure it out, and nothing to help me. And I had started taking B12, methylated B12 shots. I'm from Ireland, and apparently women over the 60, which I am, in that part of the world often will develop the pernicious anemia, a form of pernicious anemia, which has on the symptom list AFib and ringing in the ears and half a dozen other things I struggle with. But those are all also on the magnesium problem list. So I did self-injecting this clean methylated B12 for 5 months and saw a little bit of an improvement, but not that much. And a friend sent me to you. So I bought them ReMag immediately and began it 3.5 weeks ago. And I can tell you that I went very slowly because I tend to be hypersensitive from the Lyme and everything else. Started at 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm up to a teaspoon today, and tomorrow morning it'll be 1 1/8 teaspoon. I do feel less depression and less brain fog. That has definitely happened. And I'm less swelling in my hands periodically. But I have also had 5 AFib events in the 3.5 weeks. And that's a record for me. So I can understand my system might be unstable and it's pushing it, but they're really quite horrible. They all start at night. They wake me up at midnight or 1 a.m. And I've read your book cover to cover and 5 or 6 of your ebooks so far. So I know that blood sugar can be an issue at night, as well as the vagus nerve. So I've been making sure that I have enough food in me. I don't think I was when I went to bed, but they're persisting in the sense that I've had so many in a 3.5 week period. So I don't know whether to go up because I've read when magnesium makes things worse several times. And I have a very clean diet. I don't drink. I don't do caffeine, none of those other things. I have no heart disease, but I wonder if I should jump up to more, and I'm a wee bit afraid to do that in case it really throws me off the deep edge. That's why I'm on the phone with you.
Right. I think what jumps to my mind is balancing the magnesium out with our pico potassium,
Okay.
because they work hand in hand. One makes the other work, better absorbed, better function. And what creates the heart beating is the electrolytes, and
Yeah.
that's your sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. Now, we're not low on calcium, that's pretty much a given. Sodium, that's why I talk about putting the sea salt in the water, and I guess you're doing that, correct?
Yes, I am exceeding the water. Yeah, I hit about 72 ounces every day plus, and I only need 66 by your formula, and I am using sea salt. Although I'll be honest, fancy sea salt for sure, but I'm only using 1/8 of a teaspoon instead of your recommended quarter, because I wasn't sure. I got a very rapid heartbeat the first couple of AFibs, and I don't normally have anything like that. And I wondered, I know it's not bad salt, but I wondered if the salt might be an issue there.
It's hard to say. I think you said it earlier, though, that things are going to be shaken up for a while until they sort themselves out. It's like your body was depleted in at least the magnesium and perhaps the potassium as well for so long that when it's starting, things are starting to kick back in, they will kick up. They will, get shaken up, and they'll present themselves as your worst symptom. And in your case, it is your AFib. Now, since you've had your heart checked out and everything checks out okay, and they sort of just toss you out the door and leave you to your own defenses, then you stay with the assumption that your heart is fine and strong, and now you just have to balance out your electrolytes. Personally, I can't tell you what to do, but personally, I would keep increasing the magnesium, because there's a certain aspect of, it's been 3.5 weeks, so your body's starting to kick in, and at the same time, it is all those 1,000 enzyme processes are revving up, working more efficiently, and requiring more magnesium.
I know you've said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the possibility is, because you've been, so diligent about your timing and all the amount, it is quite possible that the AFib is coming because you don't have enough magnesium right now. It's like, I'm ready for more. Give it to me. Give it to me. And if you don't, I'm gonna develop my symptoms again. That's what I think.
Okay. So I've been going up 1/8 teaspoon every 3 days. You think maybe I should, for instance, jump to 1/4 teaspoon every 3 days, something like that? Or even more?
No, the quarter. I double it and go to the quarter. That might do it right there.
Okay, 1/4 every 3 days. And then what would you have me do? I happen to have a bottle of, I went and bought more of your things so I could begin titrating them in. So I have the bottle of potassium. I haven't opened it. What dose would you recommend there? Just the label dose, or given that I'm being careful?
Yeah, Jenny, help me out here. What are people saying? Because potassium doesn't seem to have the same kick as the magnesium, but we still tell people to start with 1/4 teaspoon. Is that right, Jenny?
Well, the 1/4 teaspoon is 99 milligrams, and that's the base dose. So we do say start with the 1/4 teaspoon, but it is something that you can accelerate rather quickly. You don't have to, do it, say, with the ReMag every other day or whatever. Just start with the 1/4. And if you feel like you get any relief at all, and of course you're drinking it throughout the day, then you're just going to add maybe 1/4, and then double that and double that and double that, because we have people taking 3 and 4 teaspoons, 3 and 4, teaspoons, right? Without issue. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I could do that. Okay.
So what I would do is do the 1/4 teaspoon every day or two, add a 1/4. And when you're when both ReMag and potassium are at a teaspoon, then start increasing them both together. You're looking at taking 2 teaspoons of each, I would think.
Yeah, I'm beyond that with the ReMag. I'm at a teaspoon and an eighth as of tomorrow morning already. So I'll just let the potassium catch up.
Correct.
And I'll keep increasing the ReMag anyway. So ReMag may always be ahead of it, unless I do, as Ginny says, and go a little quickly with the potassium, maybe every second day instead of every third.
Right. And the ReMag is always going to be a bit more than the potassium. You're right. You know, you may be getting to 3 teaspoons of ReMag and 2 teaspoons of potassium.
Okay.
Right. Now, here's something that I looked up. The Chinese medicine has organs that are more activated at certain hours.
Right.
And, I was looking to see if what the heart was doing at
between midnight and 1 a.m.
Yeah. No, it's 1 to 3 p.m. Where's the a.m.? Lungs are 3 to 5 a.m. Isn't that silly? They left out the 1 a.m. The heart is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
I can find that chart and just double check. I do get occasional 5-element acupuncture, and they do use that chart and see what that hour
here it is. The liver is at 1 to 3 a.m. The gallbladder is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So, and that makes sense too, because there's the detoxification. That's where our ReAlign would be helpful to settle those organs. That's very
so go ahead and start the ReAlign. And I bought it. I just didn't want to start too quickly. But I know in Chinese medicine, the liver is described as when it's in trouble, it can cause an embarrassment to the heart. It backs up and pushes the heart. The heart's strong, but the liver's looking for help.
Right. So
so start ReAlign.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Now I did begin.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I did begin the Pico Silver a few days back, just because somewhere in your writing you said if you have any sense that you may have an infection, and I'm dead sure I've got some kind of long-standing viral infection. And I began the Pico Silver also slowly, only half a teaspoon. But I have felt something like tiny mild fevering and heat and sweating, so I know it's pushing my immune system. Would that be, is it possible that can annoy the heart as well, or should I just stick with that and keep after it?
Oh, I see. I would stick with it, because the toxins from a subclinical infection can be what's pushing the heart. So you'd want to get after the infection. And you already said that you had Lyme, which means you also have yeast overgrowth.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. That's why I'll be heading in that direction. I just didn't want to get too crazy, because I tend to be hypersensitive, and I'm very beaten up and very tired and weak.
Mm-hmm. Where do you live, Lorraine?
In Colorado.
In Colorado. I'll get Ginny to send you some complimentary bottles, because I hear what you're saying about being an artist and uninsured, and you're having to take all these remedies, and they're all going to be helpful, but we'll send a few bottles of things to you to help things out.
That's very kind of you, Doctor. I do appreciate from the beginning. I mean, I didn't get alarmed when this happened. I just was so grateful I could talk to you live, because there's a degree to which, as well as your writing is and as helpful as it is, you need the clinical wisdom. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay. What else? What other questions do you have?
Just whether you thought taking the homeopathic remedy, I think it's phosphorus, or it might be magnesium that you mentioned in the book. It
would have been magnesium. It would have been magnesium. Well, when I first put the homeopathic magnesium in the sulfate in the book, it was before I had the ReMag. And it was because I was afraid that, the absorption of the the magnesium supplements wasn't optimal, but I don't find that I need the homeopathic at all because the ReMag.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry
Okay.
about that. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good. Thank you kindly, doctor.
Oh, you're welcome. Good to
I'm
hear.
already sending friends your way already.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And it's great questions. We all learned from your questions. So thank you. And Ginny, do you have Lorraine's address, or what should she do from here to get in touch with you?
No,
I can write
no. So Lorraine, go ahead and just email your information to questions, and I'll
Okay.
type it here in the chat line for you. Questions at
Okay.
Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, because we've been chatting on Zoom. I'll email you. I'll just chat you the email, and then be sure to let us know who referred you, because we'd love to thank them for that. So we love having our compassionate, caring customers spreading the good news. So thank you for that too.
I will indeed. Thank you both.
Okay. Good night or good morning, whatever the case may be. Bye, Lorraine.
Oh, wonderful.
Bye now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
wonderful.
It is wonderful to hear the Irish accent. It's just so beautiful.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. When I was a little girl, I had the most beautiful woman in the whole wide world, and her name was Mrs. Heath. And she was from Ireland, and I always went over to her house for tea and white cake. And she would tell me all these stories, and we'd look at her figurines, and I just loved her so much. And I heard that voice, and it just reminded me of Mrs. Heath. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, very wonderful. Yeah, I just have to think of my mom. I mean, she wasn't Irish, she was Scottish, but there's that same lilt. Did I ever tell you the story? This is I don't know if it's a women's story, but anyway, when I was a kid, my older sister and I were on a boat to Scotland. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and my mom, it's just my mom and my sister and myself. And we had the worst crossing from Nova Scotia over to Scotland, I guess. I don't know exactly. Worst crossing ever. Worst storms. Everybody was in bed except the staff and me. So yeah, and me. So I would go around with the store, helping patients and not patients, but they became helping the passengers because they were all so sick. So I guess it would have been like 40 years later. My mom and dad were taking a bus trip in the American South. And I guess mom was talking to dad with her sweet little Scottish accent, and someone piped up and she said, "I recognize your voice." And they settled on the fact that they'd both been on this crossing. And then it finally came up, well, whatever became of your daughter? She was just so sweet and helpful. And my dad, even though bragging is a sin, my dad piped up, "Oh, she's a doctor now." So it was just this perfect little circular story. Isn't that sweet?
Oh my gosh, that is so precious. That's so great. Wow. There you are out there healing the world already.
Yeah, cleaning up vomit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the practical part of it. They're done with the romance, just cleaning up puke. Probably
well,
right.
I guess actually, when my high school guidance counselor said, from me being vice president of the student council, because, females couldn't be president and, on all the committees, and said I could be an executive secretary or a nurse. I guess, my nursing experience on the ship was all I could stand. I wasn't going to do that. I went for my first year, secretarial science, they called it. And I got my typing and shorthand, which put me in great stead for med school. I took everything down word for word. People would fight over trying to get my notes.
They still do, probably.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
if they only knew what was in your notes.
Yeah.
Kathy Lydell said, great story, and it is a great story. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's our Dr. Dean.
Yep.
Okay, so again, questions, questions at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. If you have a question about anything that's been said on the show, or you want to communicate with Carolyn, Melody Rose will get your email and she will skedaddle around and get everything organized for you. Elma said that she's on 4 teaspoons of ReMag and 3 teaspoons of pico potassium. So she's doing very well with her pico potassium and her ReMag. Maria Lorraine said that her blood pressure is decreased. She went from 150 over 90s to 117 over 73. And of course, her AFib is practically gone. So we know it works. We know it's helping. I know you know, and you wanted to get connected, but you do need that reassurance, especially when that heart is just beating wildly in your chest and you're not sure what's going on. So we're always here for you. Melody Rose is a great customer service person as well. You can always feel free to check in with her during the week. And
think about it. Lorraine's only been at this 3.5 weeks.
Right.
And she's already had benefits. So it's just in the beginning shake up stage. And you know, I was extreme. It took me 1.5 years of 4 teaspoons to be totally gone, you know, to where now I can, for various reasons, you know, I might miss a whole day of all my supplements and minerals, and my heart stays stable. So I have enough saturation. But even when I say it took 1.5 years, right from the beginning, I was feeling improvement. It's just that I couldn't skip a dose or couldn't skip a day. So that's what you're looking for, to be able to be fully saturated so that your symptoms don't leap up when you cut back on your remedies.
Very good. Excellent. We have more callers, but I'm going to wait. Area code 562, just hang in with me over the top of the hour so we don't bring you in and then bust up the conversation. Pauline said, thank you so much. We do learn from the questions that customers are asking. So thank you again, Lorraine. And one thing we also learned from our customers is things that preferences. So we're going to ask you guys a couple questions and get your feedback on some ideas at the beginning of the next hour too. So hang in there for that. Carolyn, do you have a testimonial or two you want to share before we come to the top of the hour?
Exactly. Perfect. Carolyn, is this Caroline? I don't know the name of this person, but they're saying, your products have turned my health around. I felt like I was dying every morning. I first started with the magnesium and it stopped some heart symptoms. I then added ReMyte and that gave me 1/3 of my energy back. But when I added your potassium to the mix, OMG, that was a game changer. It stopped my tremor, stopped my heart from skipping beats, and gave me 2/3 of my energy back. I'm expecting to get totally well by continuing on these great supplements. Thank you, Carolyn and staff. So there's our potassium. It's amazing. Next one, just quickly, pico potassium. 6 years ago, I was told I would be on pain medication for life. What a laugh I have now over that statement. I've been on the reset protocol for the past 6 years and have pain-free and most importantly, drug-free days. There was still some night discomfort, and then I started pico potassium 2 months ago, and I'm now sleeping so much better. And I know as I keep with it, I will improve even more. Dr. Dean, Ginny, Julie, and the support team and the reset products have proven to be my first and best choice for my health and all-round well-being. Rock on, reset. With love and thanks, Sandy.
Oh, rock on.
Rock
Yay.
on.
Very good. Hour 2 is the best hour. That's what Scott says. So hour 2 is coming up, everybody. We're so excited to bring you the best in the next hour. We'll be right back with more of Dr. Carolyn Dean Live.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of the Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order the Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. According to Scott, the best hour is the second hour. So I guess we've got our work cut out for us, Carolyn, to get this best hour rolling. We've got phone calls and emails, testimonials, all kinds of fun things to do. I sent you a little message over the break, Dr. Dean. Did you get it?
I will see. Jenny sent me messages. Yeah, we should inform people that that's what we're going to have to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we were thinking, Dr. Dean and I, is okay, so let's just talk ReMag lotion for a minute. So this may be the best hour after all. So we're definitely getting the ReMag lotion. It's on its way, almost literally. And we reformulated it. As you guys know, we took out the preservatives that were keeping it from competing with the lotion so that it would stay in solution. That was the problem, is it would separate a little bit. Okay. And then the COVID hit and we had to get new packaging because we could not get those 8-ounce bottles anymore. We had to go to a jar. Okay. So we got the jar. So we're all good. It's on its way. But here's the thing. We wanted to make sure that our customers loved it before we made the biggest order possible in the history of the world. So we made a small order possible. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to limit the number of bottles that people can get, the number of jars that people can get, to be fair to everybody, because it has to go out all over the world. It's got to go to our distributors. It's got to go everywhere. So the question is, what do you think is the fair, put in your vote, what do you think, be serious, don't be silly. What do you think is the fair number of bottles number that we should use to limit your order for just the first amount? We'll have more right after that, but just the very first restocking sale that we put out there. What do you think the fair amount is to let people order so everybody can get some? All right. Put your order in the chat line and we will come back to your answers and see how everybody feels about it. Okay. And of course, Patrick is always the first one to answer all the time, just like last week on the quiz. Immediately, 2 bottles, he immediately put his order in. So you guys let me know what you think, and we're going to press on and take some phone calls and we'll tally it up and get back and let everybody know what the results are. Okay, very good. So should we take phone calls? Carolyn, ready?
Yes, ready for phone calls.
Okay, area code 562. You can use *6 to take your phone off of mute. There you go. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question.
Nancy.
Oh, hey, Nancy.
Hi. I had a follow-up question about the fiber that I was talking about earlier,
Right.
or the other day.
The psyllium,
And-
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I had been putting the fiber in my quart of salt water. I don't mean in the whole quart. I mean, I was using water out of the quart to use it. But am I supposed to use a separate amount of water above and beyond those 2 quarts?
No. No.
Is fiber a separate thing, or do I still stay within the 2 quarts since I weigh about 128?
Yeah, that keeps you within the 2 quarts. That's fine. I do the same thing when I do psyllium, Nancy. I'll pour out about 4 ounces of my sea salt water, put the psyllium in, shake it up, drink that, and then drink another 4 ounces of my sea salt water.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will do it.
I'm sure you will. Nobody's going to stop you. I can tell. It's perfect. Yeah. Thanks for calling in. You're doing okay?
I think so, and I can't think of anything else right now, so I may call later or next week or whatever.
Okay.
But thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Bye, Nancy. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, very good. Excellent. All right. If you want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, she is the lady to talk to. 646-558-8657. ID number 8836953587. That's how you get in on the call. It's on our YouTube screen. It's on all of our emails. It's here at the station. You can see the call-in number printed on all of our chat lines. We'd be happy and delighted to talk to you this evening, as we will, with area code 917. 917 *6 to unmute your phone, and you're on with Dr. Dean. Area code 917. Okie dokie. Hello. 917, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Dr. Dean. You hear me?
David, hello.
Hi. I think there is a misunderstood. That's the only reason why I'm calling. There is a misunderstood between you and Nancy about the psyllium.
Okay, go ahead.
You told her that the water is enough. I'm using psyllium for many years with a good success. She needs, whatever she takes, she needs to, if there is more water to get her to the limit to what she's supposed to drink, so she's supposed to drink it. So she's thinking that's all the water she's supposed to drink all day. You following me?
No.
She asked you if it's enough. Maybe you have to listen to the conversation again. She asked you if it's enough.
Right. She's taking 2 quarts a day, and she wondered if she has to add extra water if she's doing psyllium. I don't think she does, but what is 2 quarts? It's only 48 ounces. So that would be true if she was only 100 pounds. Is that what you're saying, David?
No, I'm going to give it to you a different way, the way I do it. I take 6 pills, 3 and 3 throughout the day, 500 milligram each pill. So that means I get 1,500 milligram in the morning and 1,500 milligram in noontime. But in order to take these pills, you have to drink water. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it can cause you to be constipated.
If you're dry, you're in trouble.
Right.
So you gotta drink all day. You gotta drink. I don't know. How much now? Go to your whatever. What you said? 1 ounce or 2 ounces? You said.
Well, I mean, I personally take a tablespoon of psyllium powder most days, and I just stick to half of my body weight in pounds, half of that weight in my ounces of water, and it works just fine.
You take and you drink throughout the day. That's what I do too.
Right.
I drink my.
Well, what did Nancy say? We want to know what's wrong because we're wasting time here. What's wrong?
I know we're wasting time. Nancy told that she has to put a certain amount of water with the psyllium, and then that's enough water. So I think I say no. She's supposed to drink throughout the day, all day.
Well, she knows that. She's sipping her water through the day. She takes takes her sea salt water. But yes, Nancy, take your weight in pounds and cut it in half. That's the number of ounces. So from her, I guess I'm visualizing what I have. I line up my 3 glasses of water in the morning. Boom, I have to drink them through the day. So she'll take some water from one of her glasses, puts it in with the psyllium, shakes it up, drinks that, and then drinks some more psyllium sea salt water
throughout the day. Yes, throughout the day.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to take psyllium throughout the day. You take your water throughout the day.
I'm saying what? Sure,
that's what everybody knows that. We know it.
Yeah. Okay.
But
because I got in trouble one time. I had a colonoscopy, and then I didn't drink enough water, and I started with the psyllium, and I got in big trouble.
You can get constipated. Don't scare people, David. Don't scare people.
No, I'm taking for years. For years, I'm taking psyllium.
Yeah,
I'm not scaring people.
Yeah, people know that they have to, make sure their water intake. But see, there's a few things we're talking about here. If we're talking about people who get the laxative effect with the ReMag, they need some psyllium to bind up. But they already have the water in their intestines from the diarrhea. So they're just trying to put that water into the fiber. They're not trying to create, kind of a loose bowel. So we're talking about several different things. People who are constipated, psyllium can help, and that's where you need a lot of extra water. But
I take psyllium for another reason, because psyllium is soluble and insoluble fiber, which is very good. So it works both ways.
Yeah, it's good for diverticulitis. You'll really have to get the fiber.
Good for lower sugar, and good for a lot you know, it can help with your lungs.
Right.
So, sorry for taking your time. Okay.
Well, you know, Nancy will get back to us and let us know if there's anything that we missed here. But we clarified a number of things here, David. So that's good. Thank you. You know, we appreciate your calls, and you know, I know I can just be straight with you. That's all. We'll get.
I know we're always fighting. I'm gonna one day we're gonna sit down and write the history between you and me. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes, yes, you're very well informed, and it's good when you call in and give your input. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Yay!
I'm just checking my glasses here. During the break, I had to put some purple duct tape on the arm of one of my reading glasses. Right at the tip, it just sort of clunked off. But the duct tape works very well.
Very good. Excellent.
I love duct tape, yes.
That's hilarious. All right. Okay, so let's come back. We'll come back to our callers in just a minute. Area code 212, stand by. I just want to give the update, Carolyn, that the overwhelming answer is 2. Although Scott, being the gracious gentleman he has, said, I agree with 2, but I will settle for 1.
Oh, isn't
that was sweet. Very sweet. Corinne wants 4, so she's obviously going to have to get over that. But 2 sounds good. So thank you, everybody, for giving us some feedback. That's going to be helpful, because then we can just say we talked to our customers and they agreed. Because I already had one customer start to cry when I said we were going to limit the initial number of bottles. So thanks, everybody, for helping us. Also, quick question, Carolyn. What product would help on toe fungus?
Pico Silver.
Pico Silver. Okay, very good. Pico Silver, like a charm. And now, is toe fungus an indication of yeast overgrowth, or is that an old wives' tale?
No, they go together. You know, if your environment, if your tissues are, you know, certain pH, or you know, certain factors that encourage yeast overgrowth in the intestines, they'll encourage growth of fungus in other areas. You know, the fungal rashes that women get under their breasts, that's Candida albicans, or some women get, and men too, of course, but in your armpits, those red rashes, it's like a diaper rash, I guess you could say, but it is fungal. Didn't Courtney say that she sprayed Pico Silver on her grandbaby's diaper rash?
Yep, Sarah Courtney. Yep, she sure did.
Oh, Sarah. Oh, Courtney. Toe fungus. I mean, what I would do is I'd saturate a gauze with Pico Silver, and not saturate it so it's leaky, but wet a gauze, wrap it on the toe, and then try to, you know, wrap that with something that doesn't leak, and leave it on overnight, even with a sock on, and that will help treat toe fungus.
Very good. Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. Okay, so there we've got some responses. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you. I think this might be my Corinne, our customer service. Is this my Corinne on the chat line, Corinne? Because if it is, that's very sweet. She's working overtime, apparently. Yeah, we have a special customer service attendant. That's like having a fire marshal on your flight. It's like super special. Okay, and Jean's there. Thank you, Jean, for pitching in as well and sharing your comments. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Be sure to hit the subscribe button too on the YouTube channel, and make sure that you get your notifications when the show's about ready to come on. That helps us keep track of everybody. We don't want anybody to miss any words of Dr. Dean's. All righty, shall we go to the phones?
Yes, please.
Okay, outstanding. We'll go to area code 212. 212, you can unmute your phone with *6, 212, and we'll bring you on to talk to Dr. Dean. Stars, there you go. Welcome to the show. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hello, good evening. It's Patrick.
Is this the Patrick that answers first all the time?
Yes, that's me.
That's very sweet. Go ahead, Patrick. What would you like?
So I just wanted to ask you, so I got my results from the grassroots, and the first time I tested was back in November, and now I retested, and basically the vitamin D level went up, which is great, from 34 to 51, and magnesium stayed kind of the same, it went from 42 to 43, but my THS level went all the way down to 0.2 from 1, from 1.2.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wondered, like, if the TSH is a concern.
Oh, no, I mean, you're still in the good range. I don't know why it would shift. Did you increase your ReMyte intake?
Yes, I've been taking like 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons a day.
Right, so that was more than...
no, sorry. No, 3 teaspoons a day. Because each bottle has 1 teaspoon, so 3 teaspoons a day.
I don't know if you need that much. It may be that you're just... we don't think it's just about the thyroid, but we use the thyroid to gauge the ReMyte because 9 of the minerals support thyroid hormone production. But that the 0.2 going down to 0.2 implies that you have enough hormones. I can't say you have too much thyroid hormones, but I personally would go back to the 1.5 teaspoons.
Okay. The only reason why I increased was because I've been sweating a lot because I've tried to work out a lot, like every day. So I sweat a lot. It's the only reason to replace the electrolyte, so that's why I increased it.
Right. But the TSH is an indication that you have enough, and maybe, I mean, you could decrease to 2. Let's say that. Let's just go back and that to 2 instead of 3, and that way you'll get your electrolytes, to replace from the sweating, and you won't make more thyroid hormones than you require. And the other thing is, I'm sure you're doing your sea salt in your water.
Yes, so I've been drinking distilled water for past 5 years, but I do add the sea salt, the 1/4 teaspoon per liter.
Right. Personally, because of the sweating and you're, just bringing that up, and the distilled water, I would be putting, more like, 1/4 teaspoon. I would put a 1/2 teaspoon in every liter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I do blend in some spring water, but just like a cup, but not a lot.
Right. No, that'll help. And you'll, I don't know, you sound young. I don't think, you're expressing any symptoms, but have you noticed anything else, anything about your body with the extra exercise?
Not really. I just know that I increased my dairy intake because I was dairy free for a very long time, probably like 4 or 5 years, and I started just last March doing dairy. So I've been doing that a lot. Mm-hmm. But I take my ReMag. I take 3-4 teaspoons a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Yeah,
And
I mean,
him also like 3.
Okay, yeah, that's good. What was I going to? Yes, I know what you're saying about the dairy, because if I take too much dairy, I need more magnesium, but I love the dairy, so we can do what we love and balance things out.
Yeah, I feel great actually. I feel since even I started D3K2, I started in November. I feel my teeth are much thicker than they used to be.
Wow.
So I think it really works.
Yeah, that's good. How many D3K2 are you on, Patrick?
I play it by ear. Sometimes I take like 2 capsules a day, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. Like it depends on the day how I feel, but I always take more than 1, usually 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see the increase, and that's,
And
what
what I do, I open up the capsule and usually put it in the yogurt, so I blend it in right away, because I read that they usually recommend it to take a bit of fat. So might be even better to take it like that.
It's true, and that's kind of why I put the vitamin A and the vitamin E in with. No, I didn't. I did that in the omegas. I lied. I'm sorry. Right.
I add the restructure, and now I add the omega-3 as well. I usually leave the omegas like in my mouth, and they melt like nicely.
Oh,
I don't know if
that's
it's
good.
good to do, but I like the taste. It doesn't really have any taste actually.
Well, yeah, that much better than the fish oils. Yes, so the D3K2, so you take it with fat. I suppose, yeah, taking it along with your restructure, because there's an omega in the restructure. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, about the D3, because being fat soluble, it works better with fats. So take it with your dairy even.
Yeah, I like it in a yogurt, and I don't even feel like it doesn't really have any aftertaste or any taste to it, because I also add vitamin C powder in it, and I put some berries. It's pretty good actually, and that way I take all my vitamins and I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know what you're saying about the yogurt and the vitamin C powder. I take a bit of kefir, goat milk kefir, and I just get plain, and I put the vitamin C powder in, and it tastes fabulous.
And the RNA drops, is it possible to also blend it in, or is it better to take it separate on an empty stomach?
It's better to take it separate under the tongue. There's something about it that it's not a homeopathic, but it seems to work better when you separate it by about 15 minutes away from other food. It's not a food really. It's what would we say? It's like a catalyst, and you want it to work on its own. I'll say it that way. Ginny, can you say anything more about why we take the RNA reset separately?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the couple things is like Carolyn says, it is a catalyst, but the most important thing about the drops, which is very difficult to, talk about in a classic term, is that it is an energy medicine. People, our customers who are interested in nature and interested in resonance and frequency and interested in a more holistic approach are more likely to understand what we're saying about when we say that it does balance frequencies in the body and in the force field really around you. And, we know clinically now, and they've measured and proven that your heart actually has a force field that goes out 22 feet around your body. I mean, that's incredible to think that your heart protects or projects that much magnetism. So
if I can just, sorry to interrupt you. So if I ask you the frequency, what do you mean by it? Like, is like aura, like body aura or something like that?
I mean, that's a good word for it. And that's a good word for it. Energy, your non-physical energy, the things that you can't see that are around you. That comprise all of the unseen parts of you.
Okay. So basically, other people can feel it then as well, right?
Yes, the RNA drops tune you up. Yes, absolutely. So you can.
I notice that people like keep looking sometimes, like when I take extra dose, like like you just walk down the street and people just look at you for some reason, you don't even know why. So it might be it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you are. I know Patrick because I've seen you on Instagram. I know you're a very charismatic, handsome young man, but I also know that the drops.
Thank you.
Carolyn's husband, people think he glows when he walks around the beach. They say, oh my gosh, you're just glowing. And it does give you that radiance and that joy. And we were able to prove that through what's called a Zyto machine. A Zyto machine is something that naturopaths and clinicians use to hook people up to, and it kind of measures your energy frequency. And so they'd measure the frequency, and then they'd take the drops, and then they'd see how the energy frequency changed and actually balanced what they call out of balance stressors. So it has a tendency to relax your mind and just open up your force field and your energy. So it's a great catalyst for all aspects of your being, your organs, your digestion, and just your general mood.
So basically, that's what RNA stands for, relax and allow.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what it stands for, relax and allow drops. That's what we started calling them. And then, of course, the RNA reset is the relax and allow reset. Just like Carolyn always says, the worst is over. So what we're saying there is that, if you, that's what she taught us, in the radio show is that if you have if you get hurt in an accident, the paramedics are taught to tell you the worst is over. So you'll start to relax and just allow your body to start managing all your systems and start to heal you. And it's the same thing with the drops. It's like, relax, everything's going to be okay. The worst is over, and you are going to get incrementally better.
So probably it's a better idea to take the RNA drops than mRNA shot.
Well, kind of. It's interesting, yes, that's how things are all laying out. We can't make claims, of course, because that would be a big no-no, but it is kind of funny how the battle has taken over. But yeah, absolutely. That's what we think.
Yep. Okay. And also it's been my 4th anniversary since I discovered Dr. Dean and the RNA reset. So yeah, thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Good to talk with you and know who's on the other end of the chat line. Thank you for all your...
just I wanted to say hi because I've been chatting and I always didn't really want to call. So
well, you had some good update.
Yeah. Sorry. About the magnesium. So where should be the levels? Like around 50, 60? Since I'm only 43.
I know when I had my first grassroots test, mine was 62. And then when I started to take the vitamin D, because my vitamin D, Patrick, was 19, it was horrible, low. So I went to 10,000 right away, 2 of my D3K2. And after 5-6 months, I was 59, but my magnesium dropped back to about 46 because I was using up that extra magnesium to metabolize the vitamin D. So there's this dynamic thing that's happening. So maybe, because you increased your vitamin D, your magnesium did not go up as high.
Jazz, but back in November, my vitamin D was 34, and my magnesium was 42, and now my vitamin D is 51, and my magnesium is 43. And I actually increased magnesium, so I just wondered if it shouldn't be higher. Maybe I'm not taking enough, 3-4 teaspoons, maybe not enough for me.
I think it's enough, but like I said, I think it got used up with your vitamin D. And maybe you should just be steady on the amount you take, just take the same amount every day so that when you do your next test, it can be more of a valid experiment about, how much vitamin D do I take to get a certain level of vitamin D and a certain level of magnesium?
And then on your omegas, I think they really, really work because I was 7.88 in November, and now I was 9.69.
Wow.
Which should be a good level. And I stopped taking the fish oil, the green pasture.
The blue ice roll. Yes, I
Blue ice roll.
I don't bother with it anymore.
I take Rosita, like there's a different brand instead of it, but I take more of the omega-3, the RNA.
Right. How many omega-3 algae do you take?
I take 3 a day.
Yeah, that's good for a guy.
I don't know if that's a lot or it should be less. I don't know. I feel that 3 should be that's the right amount for me.
Right. Yeah, 2 to 3. I take 2. Very good.
Okay,
Patrick, I'm going to let you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye, Jeannie. Bye.
Yeah, good input. Thanks, Patrick. That's sweet.
Yes, absolutely. Bye, love. Bye, love.
Bye.
Yay!
Yeah, that's very nice. Putting what is it? You can't say putting a face to a name or just putting a voice to a name.
That's right. Yep. That's exactly right. Yep. Okay. Wonderful conversations here. If you want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, 646-558-8657. And you've got the ID number on the screen there on YouTube or in our emails. It's 8836953587. Jean said, in relationship to the drops, the cares of life become strangely dim. Yes, that's one of our favorite isms. Thank you, Jean. And also Scott says, I'm going to do the grassroots here very soon. So Scott, there's no time like the present. I'm just saying. And, Dr. Dean is still generously offering the kit at no charge. So don't be tarrying too long. No tarrying. Yeah, exactly. All right, very good. No one on the line to chitty chat right this second, Carolyn. What shall we do next?
Testimonial time.
Ding, ding, ding.
Joan says, hello, I've been taking Carolyn's products for a few years. When I introduced Pico Potassium, my TMJ problem that I've had for over 30 years has disappeared. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you, Joan. Next one, RJ says, I'm on my 5th bottle of ReMag. I was having my heart skip a beat once a day, but I would not notice this until I went to bed at night. Well, since I started taking ReMag, this has stopped and I feel great. Thanks so much for your product. Awesome. And Sandy, okay, we did Sandy's testimonial about her pain medication. That was awesome. Or about her pain that went with the Pico Potassium. Fredo writes a long email about vitamin D, and I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at Fredo's later. It's pretty long. Farah writes, the biggest benefit I've seen with ReMag is the curing of migraine attacks that I've been suffering from. Suffered for decades and only now finally getting relief. I also use ReMyte, but not as often. I need to change that. Yes. And it's to help with my thyroid because I've had little or no periods most of my life. In the last 2 years or so, this has changed. I was diagnosed with PCOS ages ago. That's polycystic ovarian syndrome. And medication did not work. I'm confident with your products I can improve health-wise, get my hormones, I guess she means balance, weight in check, which I've been able to do during COVID. I haven't had a weight increase, which I'm happy about. I also hand my folks ReMag and vitamin the D3K2. They're in their 70s. Very good. Terry says, I took the ReMag on day one and my blood sugar went from 180 to 110 in 3 hours. Since then, it has been a key element in my ongoing battle against high levels of blood sugar. That's awesome. And I've run out of testimonials, but I did come across a topic on Medscape. I get all my things to critique on Medscape, it seems. It's about miscarriage. And the title is Miscarriage Care. Time's up for telling women just try again. Researchers push for broad testing, prevention, and care to replace currently fragmented systems. So, of course, I wonder, well, what are they going to advise? And it's a long article, and they're talking about using progesterone, which is good. I mean, that can be helpful. And it doesn't look like there's much more. I mean, what we know about miscarriage is that it can definitely be related to magnesium deficiency, as the whole pelvic area can go into spasm. So there's one thing. It also can be hormonal. It can be hypothyroid, and that's where the ReMyte is going to be very helpful. And it can be just plain toxicity. And it can be, male toxicity as well. Is the sperm completely healthy? So it's just interesting when I see these articles and research papers where they have their focus on, trying to find a drug that will help, or in this case, trying to work on the progesterone, and that's all they talk about. They just go on and on and on about their results with using this, they call it a micronized progesterone. Tell me when we have a phone call, because I have some other topics here.
Okay, right now the phones are clear, so we can keep going.
This one, the title is Increasing Salt Intake Proves Beneficial in POTS, P-O-T-S. That's the postural tachycardia syndrome. Now, what we know from people even in tonight's call, some people are saying that when they took ReMag, their tachycardia, didn't someone say it went from their blood rate, their heart rate went from the 90s to the 70s. Well, the 90s is kind of a tachycardia. And there are people who get this postural tachycardia syndrome, which means when they change their posture, usually from lying to sitting or lying to standing, their heart rate reacts and elevates. And to me, it's an adrenal reaction. If your adrenal glands can't put out the adrenaline to tighten things up, to help you stand without your blood dropping to your ankles, then it's an adrenaline problem. And the adrenals absolutely require magnesium, sodium, and vitamin C. The B vitamins are in there as well. So when people are on our protocol, they stop having this tachycardia. And the postural part is, when you're moving from a lying to a standing, you feel a bit dizzy. And what this paper talks about is, let's use some salt. Now, if they're using table salt, then, they're making the mistake right off the bat. They need sea salt. But they do say the results show that high dietary sodium intake can lower plasma norepinephrine levels and ameliorate standing and orthostatic tachycardia for patients with POTS. So, it just means that salt helped the adrenal glands in their production of this norepinephrine, epinephrine. That's the adrenaline that I'm talking about. So, I mean, there's not much more to be said about that, except, every once in a while something comes out that that sort of correlates with what we're talking about, but they always get it wrong. I mean, they're talking about increasing dietary salt. That is sodium chloride. So they're not going to get the full benefits, and certainly not get the full benefits because they're not looking at sodium and vitamin C, of course. So, and it ends up being a very long article. I'll have to clip it out of my files here because it's not necessary for Melody Rose to have that in her files. Okay, what else do I have? I have a long teaching case, but Ginny, do you have any input, questions, anything on chat?
Well, Patrick was really excited to hear about the RNA drops and to learn a little bit more. And I thought maybe, Carolyn, you could tell the backstory of the drops.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't want to? All right.
Can you tell the backstory of the drops, Ginny?
Do you want me to?
Yes, please. I'd love hearing your backstory. I'll drink water.
Okay. Well, here's what I want everybody to know is the drops actually come from a long history of tremendous success and experimentation in finding this eye cell, this opportunity, this resonance to restore people and their energy back into their force field. And Carolyn and her husband, Bob, were introduced to what was then called the D cell back in Los Angeles many, many years ago in the 80s, Carolyn, I'm going to say. Is that right? I think I'm probably in trouble now because I'm going to try to tell the story and Bob is going to hear me butcher it.
No, it looks like Bob has drifted off, so don't worry, he's gone. I'll leave him. Oh, dear. Not gone. It was in the late 60s, so I'll try to keep the dates right. So we met Joe Dunn Sloan, who was making this one-person water purifier out of grains. He was just marinating grains in a glass bowl of water, and at a certain point, as they germinated the seeds, and then the water got a bit scummy, and he would take some of that water, put it under microscope, and we would see cells that had little lights in them. And he got the formula from a long line of people a line of two people who made them before him. And he would take this water when he saw the light in the cells and mix it with cement and pour it into little ice cube trays. And then these little tiny, not the big ice cubes, but the tiny ice cubes. And he'd sell them as individual water purifiers. You just put it in your jar of water, and when it got half empty from you drinking it, you'd pour in more water and it would purify the water. And so anytime I got near a lab or someone who worked with plants and water, in one case mushrooms, I would give them the formula and see if they could make these drops, or not the drops, make the water purifier. And then, with finally getting the warehouse going, the original rented warehouse, we had some people who started making the formula. And Ginny, you can take over from there.
And making the formula. So what ended up happening was they were making it, and the people who were making it started to have these experiences like we were describing to Patrick, where they would notice a new radiance about themselves, and then parts of their body started to improve, and they would notice their hair was more full, and they would notice their skin, and they would notice different things, and also just kind of general worries, things that they usually worried about or things that would upset them would stop upsetting them. And it'd just be like, oh, well, that's life. It's okay, blah, blah, blah. And so that's when Carolyn said, well, gosh, if people are going to have this experience of that are working in the laboratory with it, if they're going to have a good experience, maybe we're on to something. And so we should try to get this out to more people and see what their experience is. So we did that. We started in 2011. That's how Carolyn and I got connected, in trying to get it out to more people and to see what the experience would be like. And people started reporting. But the one thing that I thought was so interesting was, before we had the ReMag, we relied on the RNA drops to help people with their heart. But I didn't really understand it at the time, but I do now, because of the electromagnetic field of the heart. And the RNA drops do have a frequency to them, and they do fortify your force field. And that correction was starting to help people in their hearts. And I remember couple of the earliest testimonials that we had, Roger's wife, Kathy, and Franklin Barber, they were both on the outs, man, with their hearts. And they started to come back into alignment. Remember that? I mean, yeah. Roger's wife was going to have a heart transplant, for crying out loud. So that piece of the drops is very powerful. And I had somebody ask me the other day, who's a regular user, and they've been using the drops for a long time. And they said, I've been using for the drops for a long time, and I don't know all the time what's happening with them, because when you first start working with the drops, it's kind of hard, you get those initial experiences, and then it just kind of starts to settle into your system. And she said, I didn't really think much of it until I just went to my high school reunion. And she could not believe it. She could not believe how young and vibrant she was, compared to all the friends at her reunion. And, I look at Carolyn, Bob, my husband, Greg. I was sitting across from Sheila the other night in a conference room, Deb West. I mean, these are people who've taken the products for a long time. Their youthfulness is off the charts. I mean, it's just incredible to see how young and vibrant people look, who've been using the drops for a while. So, there are the hidden effects of the RNA drops. It's like an investment in your energy, in your beingness, in your body, in your well-being, in your mind. And the other thing is, nobody else on the planet has them.
Nope, they can never be duplicated, because they're created generationally, so that we're up to like 170 generations, and it's like every 3 or 4 weeks we make a new generation, and the most recent batch has a little bit of every other generation, because when we go to make 171, we take a part of 170 and put it into the ingredients of 171. So it's got this incredible longevity aspect to it. And I mean, there is a certain homeopathic aspect to it too, because when we're germinating the barley sprouts, and what is it, Jenny, 40 pounds of barley seeds go into this huge drum, and they're rotated. So it's like the succussing of homeopathy. And that probably adds the frequency and resonance that we see in the drops.
Yeah, very cool. So, for those who've been on them for a while, you can just never tell what you're going to experience as you continue to use them. I remember in the beginning, when we were calling them exclusively Relax and Allow drops, and people associated that with the Abraham Hicks group. And they would be like, so is this like a law of attraction? And we were like, well, no, we can't really say that. But, think about if your energy changes and you feel better, you're probably going to attract different things. And people, we'd always say, they'd say, well, we can't afford it or whatever. And we'd say, well, just get some drops and your money will change. It changed a lot of people's money, changed the relationships. We used to focus on that a lot, so we don't do it as much. But yes, barley is an incredible asset, nutritional asset. It gets a bad rap these days, but it's very, very good for your system. And there's a lot of tremendous benefits to the drops. So if you haven't tried them, give them a whirl. I think you'll be surprised. And then tell us what you notice.
Yeah, it's very individual in the beginning. And again, we've got so many products now. We don't focus on the drops, but in the beginning, people would have a different taste for them. I tasted dirt and tobacco, for Pete's sakes. And what I kind of realized was I was probably detoxing the tobacco from my father's smoking. And somebody said they taste like Cheetos. Now they just have sort of a sharp vinegary taste to me today. So are people still reporting that, Ginny, that they taste different things from the drops?
Some people love them and they think they're really sweet, so it is a very unique experience that people have. And I think they taste incredibly alive. I think it's like taking, I remember when we used to do wheatgrass back in the day, remember? And it reminds me a lot of the wheatgrass. I can really taste the chlorophyll and the aliveness, type of thing that's in the germination process. So I think they're very unique. Yeah, definitely tell us what you experience, how they taste. They do change. People can tell, especially people who've been taking them for a while. It's like, wow, there's a lot of zing in this one, so they are a fun adjustment. It's just fun, it's just fun stuff exclusively from Dr. Dean, who is the doctor of the future and, is way ahead of things. So it's funny that also our good friend Patrick pointed out how ironic it is that here we are at this moment with this situation, and here we are with our situation. So Dr. Dean's always ahead of things.
Yeah, our RNA. And to me, another huge part of the RNA process is the waste product, the barley straw that comes away from the drops when we squeeze these drops out with a big industrial press. That straw, we dry it and we use it as a fertilizer. And I'm sure people on the show have heard me talk about the radish experiment. And, we're going gung-ho on more experiments on the farm over here. And we're very excited about that because we do have to bring our land back under our own stewardship. We have to stop GMO. I have real concerns with Bill Gates buying all the agricultural land, and he's pro-GMO. So we have to own our land and grow our own food at some point. And, we're leading that process by creating this mighty mash, doing the experiments first of all, and then creating it. I'll probably have to build a whole other warehouse to assemble this product. So I'm very committed to that. That's where you were committed to research last year, and it's continuing. We won't drop that. I think this year our commitment is going to be to the land.
Very good. And with that, we will wrap up. Dr. Dean's final words. Namaste, everybody, as they used to say back in the day.
Namaste, back in the day. Now it's onward and upward.
That's right. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Rachel and Debbie and Patrick. And
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.